Hi guys, Alicia Cross here, and this week I am talking to you about recovery, and I'm gonna try to keep this short. We're trying to keep this like 20 minutes. Last or 2 weeks ago, the video was really long, 30 minutes. I got really carried away, so we're gonna try to keep this at 20. So welcome if you are joining me live or you are watching the replay later. So we're talking about recovery in this video. And I'm going to use the foundation that the Barbell Physio is using. And that is this right here. So the Barbell Physio, I would definitely recommend following him. He is awesome. So we're going to use his foundation, and I'm going to break these down. So rest and recovery are one of our training variables. And a couple weeks ago, I did a blog post on training variables. There are things like intensity, the amount of weight you're lifting, volume, your reps and your sets, frequency, how often, exercise selection, tempo, and rest and recovery is one of the training variables. So these are the components of your routine that you can manipulate to get the results that you want. And rest and recovery is a misunderstood or an overlooked training variable. So I wanted to talk about that today. So at the top of the Barbell Physio's recovery pyramid is recovery tools. And what recovery tools are would be like a foam roller, a lacrosse ball. So if you're using that kind of tool to do some self-myofascial release, maybe you have a Theracane or a stick or a tiger tail. Hi, Carlin. So these are the tools that you would be using to relieve your tension in your muscles. And that's the top of the pyramid. So the next layer is stress management, body work, low intensity. And what would fit in there would be a day of, say, mobility work. If you're just working on using some bands to get your mobility in your shoulders or your hips or your ankles, your calves, whatever it is you're working on. It could also be a day where you're doing, if you're a runner or you do some kind of like triathlon event, you're going to have like a recovery ride or a recovery run. So it's going to be a lower intensity day, but you're still moving. This is also where things like yoga would fit in, as well as meditation, because that component, the second component on the pyramid, is stress management, which stress is two things. So stress one is the external things that are happening, quote unquote, to us, and two, it's our response to stress. That's internal, and that is both if you think of your reaction, your behavior, but also your stress response, meaning what happens, physiologically with the hormones that are getting released, what happens to your blood pressure and your heart rate in response to these stressors that are coming from outside. So stress management, we can't always, sometimes we can, but we can't always change our external circumstances. But one thing we are in control of is our stress management, and to be able to regulate that response to a stressful situation, we have to practice it when we're not under stress. So that is what happens with meditation and yoga, is we are learning how to use our breath. We are learning how to monitor our thoughts, to self-regulate. We're learning how to do that on the mat in a safe space, so that when something does happen externally, we are better able to fall back on that training and not have such an overblown response to that stressful situation. So that's where yoga and meditation would come in. And yoga also just for the physical practice of stretching and relieving stress on the body. That comes from our training. Training and exercise is stress. So the yoga practice is a good counterbalance for that. It's a good complement to our exercise that we're doing. And this is why it's really important that we approach yoga in that way. I did a blog post called Yoga is Not a Workout, and it's not. Our workout is our workout, and our yoga practice is our yoga practice. And really the benefits that we're getting from our yoga practice are that stress relief. Okay, then the next, as we move down the pyramid, the next one is nutrition and hydration. So this is really important. If we are not properly fueling and hydrating all day long, especially pre and post workout, we're really hindering our ability to recover from our workouts, and we're not getting the most out of what we're doing, that precious time and energy that we're spending at the gym. We're not getting the most out of it. So with nutrition, definitely it's important to have good nutrition all day long, but you want to make sure that you have some kind of snack or meal before you work out, so you have the energy to do what you need to do. And that's going to be really personal for everybody. There's going to be foods that agree with you and foods that don't, and you're going to figure out the window of time that you need to eat pre-workout so that you are you have enough energy, but you don't have food sitting in your stomach so that you can work out. Hydration, if you're not hydrating all day long, that's going to be a problem. So you want to make sure that you're drinking water all day. And then about 60 to 90 minutes before your workout, especially if you're going to be really sweaty, you want to make sure that you're taking in water and probably some electrolytes if you're sweating and your workout is longer than an hour. And you can drink water with electrolytes during your workout. For energy, you can take branched chain amino acids during your workout for energy. And then post-workout, it's really important to hydrate again, and then to have a meal. So if you think of eating after your workout, you can compare that to fuel in your car. So yeah, you fuel up before you go on vacation or a road trip, but then when you come home, you got to fuel up again. You can't just, have your car sitting there on empty, because you got things to do. You got errands to run. You got to go to work. So when you come back from vacation, you fuel your tank. Same thing with your workout. When you finish your workout, you got to refuel. You got to take in carbohydrates to replenish the energy that you use. You need to take in protein so you can have that protein synthesis and build muscle, which is what we want. And it doesn't matter what kind of workout you're doing. If you're doing strength, if you're doing endurance, you need to replenish. You need to refuel. And the harder and the longer the workout, the more carbohydrates you're going to need, but we're always going to need protein. And that is, nobody's in disagreement about a post-workout meal. Doesn't matter what kind of workout you do, you need to eat afterwards. And if you're working out at night and you wonder, well, what should I eat when I come home? That is a great time for a protein smoothie. And you'll get everything you need in the smoothie, and it's not really heavy on your stomach when you go to bed. Speaking of going to bed, that brings us to the bottom, the most important part of this recovery pyramid, sleep. I think this is probably the one that's really the most underappreciated aspect of recovery. And basically what this pyramid is telling us is no amount of foam rolling is going to make up for your lack of sleep. So sleep for everybody, for humans, all humans, it needs to be 7 to 9 hours of sleep. There, of course, is a rare mutation where some people don't need that much sleep, but probably that's not you. Probably you are a regular human who needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And the harder you work out, the more that you're demanding of your body, the more sleep you're going to need. If you're only getting, 4, 5, or 6 hours and you say, well, that's all I need because I wake up. Well, there's something else going on there. You do need 7 to 9 hours. If your body or your mind is not allowing you to get that much sleep, there's something going on that we need to look at. And some of those other aspects of the pyramid could help with that. So meditation and yoga absolutely help with sleep. The foam rolling, the self-myofascial release, that can help with relaxation. One of the really big ways, and I didn't mention this at the top, but one of the big ways that the foam rolling, the self-myofascial release helps with relaxation is when we are doing this foam rolling and we are releasing tension from our fascia, our connective tissue. It is stimulating receptors in the fascia that are controlling our autonomic nervous system, and it is lowering our blood pressure, it is lowering our heart rate, it is lowering that stress response and those stress hormones and chemicals that are circulating through our body. So that is a big way that the foam rolling helps with our recovery and reducing stress, and that can absolutely help us with sleep. If our body is not able to sleep, we may have too much of that cortisol and stress hormones in the body, and foam rolling is a way that we could calm that down. And this may not be an instant result. You may not, meditate and foam roll for one day and get a good night's sleep, but this, just like the effects of diet and exercise are compounding. It's something that has to become a regular habit so that we start to see those changes that we want to see. So for the amount of sleep that we want to get, or that we need to get, is 7 to 9 hours per night. And you may hear people talk about, well, you can make it up. If you're not getting enough sleep during the week, you can make it up on the weekend. And I'm going to tell you why I think that that is not true. You cannot make up sleep. If we are underslept, so one of the things that's going to happen is it's going to mess up our hunger hormones. So ghrelin and leptin. So ghrelin is the one that tells us to eat. Leptin is the one that tells us we're full and it's time to stop eating. When we're underslept, it messes with those hormones, and that is why we eat a lot when we're tired. We fall prey to those cravings, those donuts that somebody brought into the office, or those cookies that somebody brought in. We want all of that because our hormones are thrown off, and we want that quick energy because we are tired. Some other things that will go wrong is, I'm sure you've heard the studies that driving while tired is almost as bad as driving while intoxicated. We can also make poor decisions when we are tired. I can't remember who said it, but often people quote, it might have been Jeff Bezos, but the quote is that the worst decisions I've ever made in my life were while I was tired. So if we are spending our week getting not enough sleep 5 days a week, and because of that we're making poor decisions, maybe we're in a bad mood and we're snapping at our friends, family, co-workers, our spouse, our partner. If we are chronically eating donuts and cookies and high sugar, high carb, processed carb foods all week long, and driving while we are underslept, think of the consequences or the ramifications that could happen doing that day after day after day after day. And then because we get a few extra hours of sleep on the weekend, is that really undoing 5 days of eating poorly, 5 days of bad decisions, 5 days of risking getting into a car accident? So this is why planning on making up sleep on the weekend is not a good plan. It's better to get that consistent 7 to 9 hours every night of the week so that we're at our best every day. If we are well rested, we're going to be in a better mood. We're going to be more likely to go to the gym and have a good workout, and we'll have the energy to get that done. Our body repairs while we are asleep. That's when we release the HGH, the human growth hormone that helps us to grow the muscles that we want to grow. And remember, growing doesn't just mean size, doesn't mean we're going to get bigger, but that is how we repair our tissues. Working out is breaking them down. We need to sleep at night so that we can repair and recover, and that's how we make progress. The progress happens outside of the gym, not inside of the gym. Okay, so some of the misconceptions about recovery are that we need to be doing nothing. We need to sit on the couch and watch Netflix and eat pizza, and that is not recovery. Recovery is active. It is going through these steps on the pyramid. It is taking a walk. It is doing rejuvenating activities with friends. It's being out in nature. It's not sitting around and doing nothing. Even if we are injured, and obviously depending on what your injury is, if you have a broken bone or a broken arm, you're gonna rest that. But for most things, if you are injured, it's best to move. Even if you're having some pain in your back, the last thing you want to do is lay around on the couch for a week. You've got to get moving. You got to do some gentle moving, some foam rolling, and definitely looking at how you are managing your stress with these components, like meditation, like foam rolling, like yoga. So when you are involved in a training program, your recovery has to be an important part of that program. Often I see people kind of bragging about not taking rest, or they feel guilty about taking rest. So there's really some misconceptions about what rest is and why we need it. Just as, we have to massage our reps and our sets for the effect that we're going for in our training, we need to make sure that we are resting and recovering appropriately. And that could mean a day of doing gentle movements like yoga. It could mean a week of doing deload movements, lighter movements, maybe getting outside of the gym, going for a hike, trying some kind of new and different exercise, so that our mind and our body gets a break from what we've been doing, but it's not laying on the couch for a week. So if you are needing to add recovery, you know this, you know you need to work on recovery. One of the things you can do is start at the top. So if that seems like the easiest thing you can attack, go after the recovery tools, the foam rolling, the self-myofascial release, lacrosse balling, whatever tools you have that you can use. And I am holding a foam rolling workshop Sunday, March 10th, 1 o'clock to 2:30 at the Meta Center. So we'll be doing foam rolling, which is self-myofascial release. We also have lacrosse balls and some other tools, and I'll show you how to perform self-myofascial release on your entire body in that 90-minute workshop. And then as far as the other aspects go, you can begin to build on them. But that is a really good place to start, maybe a real low barrier entry, so you could start incorporating some self-myofascial release, some foam rolling into your daily routine. If you're already doing that and you need to move down into these other layers, absolutely I can help you with the meditation, the yoga, and through a coaching session, we could talk about how to get your nutrition, your hydration, and your sleep habits or your sleep hygiene in order. So if you have questions about recovery in general, post them in the comments. And if you need help with your recovery, send me a message and we can talk about what you need to focus on. And if you just want to learn how to foam roll and do self-myofascial release on your entire body, I will see you on Sunday, March 10th, 1 o'clock for my foam rolling workshop in the Meta Center. And I will put a link to the sign up in the comments. All right, I'm doing great on timing. I'm going to wrap it up. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you in a couple weeks. Bye.